Hello YouTube. Hi everybody. Um, Here we are again. It's Friday, November 8th. And as you can see, I've been working on this impressionistic style painting of Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka. And it's I started it today, so it's fresh, it's not done, and I'm hoping to finish it today as well in one session. If you were with me last time, I was painting Renoir's portrait of Monet, and here is the final product, final painting. So I'll zoom in a little. It's still a little wet, and yeah, this was in one session. I need to paint the edges. I didn't paint the edges, so I need to paint the edges and frame it because I sold this painting already. It's 11 by 14. And yeah, it was a very fun one. So you can watch my previous video to see a little bit of the process that I used for painting this one, right? So I'm still letting it dry. Once it's dry, I'm going to varnish it to make sure that the colors come through and the glossiness comes through. I like a semi glossy look, but these are 11 by 14 inch canvases that I like to work on, and I really enjoy painting this size because they're also very economic for people to purchase. So here's the previous one from last week. I'm gonna put it over here, and I'm just going to continue working on this one right here. My palette has all the colors, and I was working with a large brush. By large, I mean this size. Not too large, but as I go and fill up more of the white areas, I'm going to transition to a smaller one. So for the sake of timekeeping, I have a sand clock over here. I don't know if you see it in the corner. So I'm just going to flip it. This lasts 30 minutes. And I'm not going to force myself to talk for 30 minutes or stop in 30 minutes, but that's gonna give me a better idea of time, right? So, and I've always enjoyed sand clocks. I don't know if that's how you call them, but I bought this one on the internet a while ago and I love it. It's also nice to time myself, force myself to stop when the sand runs out when I'm practicing guitar or when I'm painting. Although when I paint, I don't really pay attention to time as much, especially when I have free time. So here's my rag, right? And I'm just going to continue here. I have a couple of hours to finish up, and then I'm going to go listen to the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee Student Orchestra. They're gonna play some Mozart, so I have to leave eventually, so the deadline is about less than 2 hours, so I can clean up, right? So we'll see where I get it in 2 hours. I'm still gonna work with this large brush just to fill up some of those gaps that I see I didn't cover. So one of my goals here is to cover as much white gaps on the canvas as possible. And I'm starting to also darken a little bit, and I'm really trying not to use blacks, right? I'm just trying to use any beautiful color, vibrant color to darken, except black. Maybe I'll introduce some black at the end, or I'll see how it goes. There's no rules here really, but this is the impressionistic style of painting, and I really enjoy painting this way. But I mean, I've done a few of these type of paintings, but this style really resonates with me, with my painting style, because it's free and I mean worry free and fun. It's very fun to do it, although it can sometimes get a little messy, but I really like it. So Yep, I'm just right now going to cover as much white as I can. So I'm darkening here with browns. I see a lot of dark area. So right here, defining, I'm not using too much oil right now. I'm just using um, paint straight from the tube, and here and there some mineral spirits, right, to make the brush run smoother. So yep, so mineral spirits to make the paint go on the canvas easier, but not too much. Oh, that was my speaker that just turned off. So it makes that noise when I don't use it for some time. Okay, well, this is the dark side of the face, the dark side of the moon. And I'm just gonna go into the shirt here. The shirt is like a little white. And I'm not too careful when I paint in this style. I just, as I said, try to cover the whiteness of the canvas as quickly as I can. And then I'll transition into a smaller brush and load more paint into the brush. So here I just grab some cerulean blue because I see blue, and honestly I'm trying not to mix too many colors, but I do mix colors on the canvas as I do. So here I'm purposely mixing to get this bluish tone. Wipe the brush because I'm gonna switch to another color. We go to white, and I don't like pure white, and maybe in Impressionism, white might not be the best color to use, but obviously we can fix all of that. I'm not going to use straight white as I paint. I'm gonna mix it with something. I still don't know yet what color, but as long as it's not pure white. So maybe like yellow would look nice here, another yellow. Warm it up, remove that chalky look that the white has. And also, I don't want to just have warm color white, right? So I want to mix it with, or play around with some cool color as well. So I'm going to just focus here on I'm deciding to use yellow, like lemon yellow, or a very warm yellow here in the white areas. And in the cool area, I might use a touch of blue. As long as the color doesn't matter that much, as long as the value is correct, right? And the value I'm looking for is a light value right now. So if I have light paint on my brush, then I just put it wherever I see light areas on the canvas. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but here I just transition to the bow. I see some light areas here, and today, as I was painting my professor, I have a professor, if you don't know me, I paint every week, but I'm currently taking an online course about realism and impressionism, and later we're going to go into expressionism. And I forgot what I was going to say about my professor. His name is Rafat Maximos. He's originally from Cairo, from Egypt, and but he teaches in El Paso, Texas, where I'm originally from. So if you're watching from Texas, say hello. By the way, I've gotten more subscribers since I began this channel not too long ago. It's been about a month, and it's really nice to see people subscribing. and I'm very short from being able to live stream. So if I get more subscribers, then I'll be able to live stream these events instead of uploading um, the videos after I record them. So that way I can interact with you more, right? So if you like the content, if you enjoy watching me paint, talk about life and painting, then feel free to subscribe and like the video, give me some comments in the comment box, tell me where you're watching from or if you paint, all of that, and I want to get to know you, right? So yeah, this I decided to paint Gene Wilder, the actor of Willy Wonka, the original Willy Wonka, because, well, first of all, I grew up watching this movie and I liked it a lot. And as I was trying to figure out who to paint next, I couldn't really think. I wanted to paint somebody that is known pretty much by everyone, right? Somebody famous. I didn't really want to paint a politician, really, especially because the elections just happened in the US, and I don't want to paint somebody and then be connected to them or something. I just paint people for the sake of painting. But also, sometimes I have special bonds with my paintings, right? So, like for example, Gene Wilder is such a nice character, or Willy Wonka, I would say, and it very mystical, I would say, or like fictional character. And I was trying to think who to paint next, who I like, and who people might recognize or connect with. And I had 1 week to think about it. I usually think about these things for some time, and then eventually it came to me, right? Oh, I should paint Willy Wonka. And that's how I choose my subjects. I just think about it for a long time. Sometimes not so long, but I think about it. I don't choose right away and just paint, right? I have to ponder about who I'm going to paint and why I'm going to paint them. And I chose him because, I mean, very simple. I just really like the movie. I like this movie more than the new one with Johnny Depp. And then there's the next new one. I'm getting a little old, but the newest one, I don't remember the actor's name, but it's more like a musical, right? I like that one too, but nothing beats the original, right? Well, in my opinion. Let me know which one you like the most. And yeah, I grew up watching this all the time. I would sometimes watch it a few times in a row. You know how when you're a little kid, sometimes you just watch the same movie over and over. And when it came out on TV, because back then, obviously, there were no Netflix, right? It was just whatever was on the TV is what I would watch, right? So when I heard it was going to come out on TV, I would get very happy, right, and excited about it. So, yep, this one I'm really liking the way it's turning out so far. So, as I was saying, I'm just trying to fill up all the white parts I see. If the brush is a little soiled, so like if you put a color on the canvas and you don't like how it looks, then you just wipe the brush, right? And as I go here, I'm going to start grabbing a little more color, but I don't think so yet. I'm just trying to make sure the proportions are looking good. For example, right here, I just noticed the bow. I would like it to stick out more here, so I would just go like this, boom, make it longer. And that's it, simple. And blue, just for the shadow. And I'm starting to see more shadows down here. Now, I might have done the bow too big, so I'm going to shorten it a little bit. And when the paint is wet, it's easy to move around, right? So here I want to create a more contrast between the tones, the two values. So I'm going to go here a little more bold with the blue. If I want to darken, I might use a little brown, like a cool brown. We'll see what that brings. Yep, that makes it look nice. A little touch. And I can just work on this more for details. And I'm also trying to avoid any edges, like strict edges. But as I was saying, I'm really trying to cover all the canvas, right? So I'm going to transition here. I see some darkness here, so I'm not caring too much about the color I'm using. I'm just caring about how dark the color looks. So I'm using like a blue right now, and yep, trying to define here better what I see, right? And I have here the reference picture just to, and obviously it's in black and white, so I can see where the darks belong. So like here I see a lot of dark, so I'm just going to cover with some blue, because blue is in itself, ultramarine blue is already somewhat dark, right? So I'm just going to start covering here, little by little. And I don't sweat it too much. If I make a wrong brush stroke, or if I don't like how it's looking, I just fix it as I go. This is fixable. So yeah, I'm just adding a little bit of, I'm seeing where the shade is. So there's blue and orange here, some complementary colors. But again, I'm really trying to cover the canvas. So I have to remind myself, it might sound repetitive, but so it's not moving. So I'll add a little mineral spirits. I have to repeat to myself as well my task, because sometimes I might get a little distracted and start doing something else, right? So here I really need to define already this part of the hat. Reminds me of the previous painting I did, how it has similar hat. So interesting that I've chosen a few portraits that use, or the subject, where the subject has a hat, so maybe, and I also wear hats all the time, so maybe it's like a subconscious thing. Maybe I really like to paint people with hats. Maybe I'm learning that about myself. So here in Milwaukee, the sun is going down around 5 or so, so it's dark already outside. And yeah, I I don't love that, but I have artificial light in here, which is not my favorite, but it's better than nothing. And I have some glare here as well, because I put the light in a place where you can see the painting better, and I don't mind that really. I mean, that's okay. I just have to move around. So if I cover the screen a little, as you can see, the sand clock is halfway done. So it's been about 15 minutes, I guess. I don't know. I'm not checking time really. I'm just focused here on what I'm doing. And as I was saying, covering up white here. So, for example, the hat needs more definition. So once I start to see more clearly where things go, I start to apply paint with more, what's the word? Confidence. I like the yellow background. You know, yellow may be a little too strong, like it might come forward too much, but so far I like how it looks, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. And here, the hair, there's a lot of different things going on with the hair, so I'm just going to grab some darker tone here, like this brown. And I guess you don't have to like follow the colors that you see on the paper, on the reference, but I don't want to overcomplicate it for myself, right? So I'm just somewhat playing around with the colors that are presented in this reference. Okay, so I really need to work on that face. So I'm going to start coming here. The hair is darker, so I want to really define this area here. I see a little bit of the ear, so in a second the ear looks a little bit like a little stroke of red paint. So as I'm doing this to find the ear, I'm just gonna wipe off this. It's red, more mineral spirits, red with white. And I'm not mixing anything on the palette, so I'm just gonna find the ear is in between the nose and the eye, right around here. And that's all. Simple. If I want to bring it out more, maybe I'll grab a little touch of white on the edge, like that. Just an idea. That's the ear. Okay? So then I'm going to play around with the hair here a little bit. I see there's like yellow and white. So I'm just gonna grab a good smudge of yellow, like that. And incorporate it. I'm gonna add some highlights of yellow on this side, like here on the edges. So just a few. Here needs more. I see something off with the suit, so I'm just gonna grab, I'm switching colors, so I'm just gonna grab here and correct as I go. I see there's a lot of darkness here, right? So I'm going to darken. And then I'll just darken as I go. So I'm squinting my eyes right now to find those dark spots of the face. And I'm playing around with the brown. And as the painting progresses, I will begin to darken more. Right, so like here is very dark. And I didn't grab black. This is blue and brown. Like that. If it's not great, you see the line here, shadow line. Just gonna paint all of this whiteness here. Okay, that was not as beautiful as I wanted it to be, but we'll fix it. So right here. Okay, it's getting there. And the mouth, maybe a little darkness there. Little darkness there. The eye. So my brush is feeling too big to work. So in this area, but I see the white around here. So before I switch to a smaller one, I'm gonna go back to the background, grab a little mineral spirits. And work here. Cover the white. I don't like the white canvas. And just lightly touching, but grabbing enough paint so that it covers the white parts. I want to maintain, I don't want to mix the colors too much. Okay, well, grab some blue, that's okay, who cares? So, just allowing the paint mix on its own in small little brush strokes. I'm grabbing yellow mostly because that's the main color I see on the background. So, number one goal right now, cover the white. Cover the white. I'm gonna grab yellow ochre as well. And just add some here. And if you squint your eyes, maybe you see things different that maybe you might not love. Areas that you might think, well, needs more work here. Like for example, I don't like how this is looking up here, but I know I like the darkness of this area, so I'm just going to add some dark blue and mix a little bit here because it's one single color all over the place, so I don't want to have single colors. I like having short brush strokes and mixed colors, a little bit of each color, not one whole part, one color. So here, just for the sake of using a floating frame, I'm gonna work on the edges, just give them some tone. I found that it's very frustrating. I always beat myself up when I finish a painting and later I have to come back to color the edges. I find that very boring and annoying to do, so I'm making an effort to paint them from the very beginning so I don't have to go back later and do that. So here I want more light, so I'm gonna scoop up more yellow and make a little more definition of the hat. So I'm using the yellow as the color to lighten up the area. Okay, it's getting better. Down here. So jumping around the painting too is important, I think. I still see a lot of white spots around. So goal to cover the white spots. Okay. Now more definition on the hat here. Have to be a little more careful, but not too careful. Okay. And then maybe transition to some orange for the edge of the hat. So the shape of the hat is important, right? So I'll work on this one more on the hat because it needs more work for sure. It's not as defined. So at this point, I'm trying to grab a little more paint with more confidence. Going back to the yellow. Somewhere around there. Okay, so right now it's looking like the hat needs to be darker. I'm losing the orange and the yellow here, so I need to apply a darker color. I don't care much what color. I mean, I'm trying to be as not accurate, but like following the colors that are on the picture and use that to my advantage for help, for guidance. But yeah, this area here looks really bad. Needs more paint. It doesn't look bad. It just looks like it needs more paint. So there, and try to follow maybe so here I see a little red, so I'm just gonna grab a touch of red and apply it lightly. Right there. Something like that. Does it have to be perfect? No. That looks so. I'll work on that more. But okay. So the timer ran out. It's been 33 minutes. So I'm gonna flip it again. I'm just gonna work on this for a few more minutes and then I'll stop recording and I'll continue on my own. Whoop. But here I'm going to transition to the smaller brush. So how small? Not a really that big of a difference, right? Maybe I can try smaller, but yeah, I'll try the smaller. So this is now the next one I'm gonna use. And mostly because I'm gonna work on the face. So I'm going to start with the white, right? So here kind of like orange and white. Combine with a touch of red. And let's see what color appears. Not too strong. I'm gonna grab more white. And I know maybe I should not be using white that much. Yeah, no, this brush is too small. So I'm gonna grab a bigger brush and work on the mouth here. So this area right here. So like there's orange here. Orange, white. I see orange in a lot of parts. I'm just gonna add it anywhere I see it. So like right here, little orange. Time to go onto the eyes, right? Because the eyes are very incomplete at this point. So the chin has red, more blood. So I'm just gonna add some red there. And I'm not worrying too much. Maybe it doesn't look, it looks like a clownish look, but doesn't matter that much. I'll be working on it, improving it until I like how it looks, right? When the paint is wet, it's easy to move. So to move and correct, and even when it's dry, it's not hard. You just paint over the dry parts, right? So like orange here, so quick little stroke of orange, just little strokes. I see a lot of orange here against that ear, so I'm just gonna, okay, so it's very strong orange, right? So I'm just gonna grab white and cover it up with some white. Yeah. And I can work on that. I see a lot of orange on this side. And yep, that's good right here. Warm area. Okay, now the face looked weird, looks too square right here. So I'm just gonna switch real quick to the blue, or in other words, to a darker value, and get rid of that weird corner that I created. Overlap some hair, like that. I see yellow on the hair, so since I'm there, why not? And yellow. Okay, I see yellow on the edge of the hat. Since I know I have it on the brush, then I use it. I know I was working on the face, but here we are. Just working through the painting. So, and besides, the yellow is very prominent throughout the painting, right? So might as well use it. And okay, yellow right here. Now I see a dark line between the hat strap and the hat edge right here, so I'm just going to give it a attention there real quick. There we go. A little bit of dark here. Oh, I see canvas. I don't like the canvas. I don't like the white canvas. And still, this painting, I would say it's at a stage where I would say it's not a confident painting yet. I mean, like I'm not grabbing big blobs of paint and throwing them there. So that gets, the more I work on it, the more paint I load on the brush, the more I put on the canvas. But right now the texture of this painting is not very thick, or like I like to say, it's not like frosting, like a cake frosting, right? So, but it's getting there slowly. So again, I transition to the background, filling up those spaces, the white of the canvas, which I don't like to see. And I'm going to go back to the face, which is what needs the most attention. So I'm going to go into the cheeks, red, orange, white, because it's light. So right here, for example, right there, it's too orange. So I'm just going to cover big spots, brown. And I don't really wipe the brush if it's in the same area, because I like the colors to somewhat combine as I paint. So like here, soften the edges. The problem that always comes up, the edges, right? And here I see some white under the sideburn, needs more. Okay, so I need mineral spirits because the paint's not running. And after this stage, I'm going to start using linseed oil, 50% linseed oil with mineral spirits. So here, covering up those white spots. These white spots right here, very annoying, very good. Okay. And yep, it's a slow process. And that's how it goes. That's how painting goes, it's slow. The edge, the eye bag, the first eye bag, so there's pretty much most of the time 2 eye bags. One near the eye and one more because of the lack of sleep. So, and hopefully not 3 eye bags, right? So right here, I'm just starting to honestly not care too much, and as you might see, I'm just trying to cover the white. Sometimes I'm not thinking too much about the color because the white bothers me more than the color. So, you know, like I could just cover right here like that and then bring some lighter tone like yellow and add yellow right here. To depict light, right? And I know it looks funny maybe right now, but eventually, hopefully, if everything goes well, the painting should have come to life. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to, I see yellow under the left eye or the right eye, right here. Yeah, and the face is a little trickier to work on. So it's still a portrait that we're working on, right? Here I'm following the shape of the face. Even though it's impressionistic, it's still, in a way, somewhat technical in some parts. And okay, so the cheek is not working out here, so I'm going to lower some of that cheek with yellow here. No, the mouth needs to be worked on. Let's do the center of the nose, so that would be like a white. First, I'm just gonna grab the white, put it there, like that, to where the tip of the nose is. And it came out skin color, I don't know if you can tell, because of the colors I had in my brush. It's too beige, so I'm grabbing a little bit of red to make it more red, of course. So the mouth is the same, somewhat pinkish reddish, and maybe some here. Again, once I cover everything, all the canvas with not one color, but once I cover it and I don't see the white in between, then I start to get more aggressive with the color and grabbing more at once. So here, I'm gonna switch to the smaller one, and I'll stop in a second. So I'm just gonna work on the, I'm going to work on the eye, the pupils of the eye. So let's see, I don't want to, yeah, I don't want to make it too strong so they stand out too hard. So I'm just going to grab a little bit. Paint. By the way, working on both eyes at once is important. The pupil is in the, I have a line drawn here, so I'm looking at that, not so much the color. So making sure that I get a little more. I'm using cerulean blue because he has very light blue eyes. So to around here. A little bigger. The eye needs to be bigger. The iris, that's what I'm working on. So, and might as well now I'm going to, oh, I grabbed black on accident. Blue and brown make nice dark. I don't want to get too dark because if I get it wrong, it becomes harder to fix. So, slowly darken. And maybe here. So this is important to be careful around here. Then here. So it slowly begins to take shape. That nose has a little ridge here. The ridge is at the edge of the eyeball. So I'm just looking at proportions here. The upper eyelid has, of course, cast a shadow over the iris. Here, oh, the little pointy part of the nose is important, so it's to the right of the line, of the center line. Something like that. He has like a small, the edge of the mouth is at the iris, so I'm just gonna put like a little dot there. So I'm just trying to get impressions of where things go. So here, the edge of the nose. Oh, that was not the best. It was supposed to be a thin line, but it's okay. We can work that out later. And yep, I'm just going to maybe take a little break and look back at my painting. See how it's doing. The eyes should be pretty much the same length apart. So an eyeball length apart, which I didn't do properly. But in the painting, in the picture, the reference also, the eyes, oh, I see. The eyeball is fine. So there's just a little tucked area in here. But That's generally the rule. The eyes have to be about one eyeball apart. So something like that. And I'll just continue working on this. This one is a little trickier than the last one I did, but hopefully I can finish it today, and if not, that's no problem. I can just continue after when it's dry or not. It doesn't matter. Okay, well, I hope you enjoy the content, and until next time.